So, my friend, the floor is yours.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
We are doing an overview of the node, the miracle node. So, assuming, of course, I
And
know nothing
Leverller,
about it.
and also the
Yeah.
Leverller and Miracle Swap
Yeah.
three topics.
Okay.
What you want us to repeat or?
Yeah, no, I understand. So you'd like an overview on Miracle Swap?
Yeah. Basically, the
Yeah.
node leveler. Basically, why should somebody buy a node? Why is it important? What is miracle
Mhm.
swap? What is leveler? If you can give us an idea, that would be great.
Sure. So when it comes to Miracle Swap, what really is Miracle Swap is essentially just if anyone's interacted with any DeFi tools on the internet on Ethereum, they probably used tools like 1inch. They used probably tools like Uniswap. What they are is essentially just pools, and users come and they want to buy Ethereum. They have to go through the pool. They want to buy USDC. They have to go through that pool on DeFi systems. And what happens there is, Uniswap takes a small percentage for making the transaction happen. And people who lock up their funds to be used also make a certain percentage for like a fee for that transaction that happened. Uh, and that fee, that it can be set, it can be 0.01%, it can be 0.5%, it can be 1%, it can be 2%, depending on the pool itself. Now, you as a user, you don't actually know that. It gets communicated, but not many people actually know that. Uh, there are phone apps available. You can go on the internet and do that. But what Miracle Swap is that same thing, but it's done a little bit better. The fact that it has two improvements over what the current products have. One being that it has a thing called dynamic fee rate. Why it matters is, well, you can get that there's infinite complexity in dynamic fee rate. But let's just put it this way: for people who actually lock up their funds, they don't have to spend as much time regulating and being right about the market. They can just leave their funds, and it will generate money perpetually, provided that you set your settings right. And then what we've also created is a thing called auto compounding.
Okay.
Auto compounding is a second feature that we have that is better than whatever swap systems there are out there. In a sense, when you generate enough fees, you would have to first claim them, and then you need to insert those fees and make your position better in order to compound your profits.
Okay.
But what we're trying to create is we're trying to create a system whereby as you create profits, your position automatically compounds, meaning that your profits re-enter and increase your position as they come in.
Okay.
So these are the two advantages that we want to do on Miracle Swap. Now, let's talk about Leveller. Leveller is the provision of leverage for the people who provide that liquidity. So imagine, there are people that put their Ethereum or dollars to work, and then, friends, you might come in and you might just, buy those USDC or buy that Ethereum. You don't actually know, but you pay the fee to those who provide
Okay.
those things on the DeFi systems.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is we want to let those people, and they're called farmers. Let those farmers, they're called liquidity farmers,
Okay.
the actual term. We want to give them the opportunity to take leverage for providing liquidity.
Okay.
And this leverage, we call it Leveller, the app. Essentially, it'll allow for liquidity farmers to take leverage and farm more, bigger size. Uh, that system is built on top of already existing pools, meaning if there's a USDC Ethereum pair, for example, or USDC Phoenix pair, or USDC whatever pair, we plug it into the pair, and people who are already farming, they can just come in, and instead of farming with $1,000, they can take 10 times leverage and farm $10,000.
Okay.
So those are the two tools.
Okay, so say for instance, so they happen to have existing pool. Say I wanted to create my own pool. Is that possible?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay.
Now, obviously, there is this nuance. So the thing about creating new pools is that so if you go to Binance, for example, or if you go to even uh, have you ever interacted with perpetuals futures trading?
Not yet.
All right. Usually, leverage is not handed out to products that or pairs that have low volume for the
Okay.
simple fact that there's a thing called liquidation. Liquidation is when you know so let's break it down. So there's under collateralized loan and there's over collateralized loan.
Okay.
Under collateralized loan is when I give as a collateral $1,000 and I trade $10,000. It's under collateralized for the fact that the total position size is bigger than collateral. And then there's the over collateral loan, which is I'm trading with a position. I'm giving a collateral that's worth more than what I'm trading with. We're talking about under collateralized loans, and under collateralized loans, uh, if you are dealing with them, usually you have a thing called liquidation. I'll give you an example. You put in $10,000, right?
Yes.
And the price fell from $100 to $50. You your collateral no longer can cover the amount that is lost within the position. So when this happens, it's called you're hitting liquidations. Your position gets liquidated. So if you imagine, if you create a new pool, it doesn't have much liquidity. It's very easy to print big movements.
Yes.
And this is bad for users because big movements and large manipulation makes people lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Who are using leverage because they get liquidated very easily on even quite low leverage, 2-3 times leverage. For that reason, it's not recommended to allow people to take leverage on pools that don't have much liquidity in them.
I see. So that means if there is
So there,
already
yes, you could open your own pool,
yeah.
but as a protocol, I'm not sure that we would allow leverage to be used on a pool that didn't prove to have had significant volume.
Okay, so it's actually better to participate in existing pools. Now, one question I have, people didn't know exactly what leveler means. So I have a question the other day. Somebody said, "Well, what's the difference between our node, which is called code node, versus leveler?" But they didn't actually understand that leveler is a feature, not a new node. So could you clarify that? Leveler is a feature of our code node, right?
So sort of no, the idea of the node is that you're benefiting from all the apps that are built on top. Think of it this way: Leveler is just one app. Miracle Swap is another app,
Okay.
and they're all going to be generating revenue. The idea is that you sort of, as you run the node, you share that revenue with the program. So that's the idea there. You can actually use a leveler or use Miracle Swap and provide liquidity, make money. That's all great. Or you could just buy nodes, and also generate revenue by just being a partaker of the ecosystem through the
Okay.
node. So it's a different way of doing it.
Okay, so right now every node gives about 350 Phoenix daily. So someone can come in and purchase X amount of node, and each node provides 250 based on 25 points. Each point is 14 token. That means every node gives 350 Phoenix per node times the number of nodes. So someone can come in and purchase nodes and run their node daily and do nothing. Or if they have the ability, they can come in as a liquidity farmer and provide liquidity and earn money on liquidity in addition to having a node. They can do both, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. So why would somebody purchase a node to someone who is actually hesitating? Why is a node important for our ecosystem?
Well, if so, it's if someone's done their due diligence and they like what is happening with the DeFi ecosystem, with the volume that's taking place right now on chain, and they want to be uh, a part of maybe partake in the profits and the success of Miracle and everything that we're building on the DeFi, decentralized finance space. That's the only way of really participating is buying Node, because what you're doing is you're betting on all the tools that are being built out. That's one of the key reasons.
So whether you understand the project or not, as long as you're participating, what I tell people, participate in the infrastructure of the project, and you benefit from everything that's going on in the project, whether you understand it or not. Positioning yourself. Now, I understand that there are about 20,000 nodes, and I'm not sure exactly how many nodes are available still, and the price of the node might change. So, since we don't control the price, why would somebody participate now if the price is reasonable, let's say $2,600? Even though I'm talking about the economics of the node, but perhaps you can tell us from a technical side, why is the node important? Because I think it's important for people to understand the importance of the node and being part of it.
So the earlier question was, why is it important to purchase a node, right? And this is sort of a similar question, or maybe I'm not understanding it correctly.
Yeah.
Maybe you can rephrase it.
Why is it important for someone to purchase a node, regardless of the price?
You mean in terms of timing?
In terms of
earlier?
timing, yeah. In terms of timing, yes.
So, look, the way I see it, it's just like any other business or token, with volumes, with success, with revenue generated, the market cap of these things, obviously goes up. What you could buy with your dollars in Bitcoin a year ago is not the same as today. Same with any other token that's successful. Time is always a factor. Obviously the risk is greater, but also the reward is great. There's no risk, there's no reward. So the earlier you bet on a product, the more you benefit.
Yeah.
When everything's safe and everything makes sense, obviously that stage it'll be more expensive.
Okay.
The risk factor is always included.
Yeah. So right now the price of Phoenix is actually right now 0.05 regarding of the is 0.05. That means the market, the Phoenix is about to be listed green on CoinMarketCap. The price is now, and that's without marketing. The price is already moved from 0.007 to 0.05. And I have people like, okay, we want to see, proof that, hey, this is this or that happening before we can purchase. And with no marketing, the Phoenix is already at a pretty good price. So, I mean, in a sense, it really remove any kind of doubt for someone to have to purchase a node. I mean, you're on the technical side, so I'm thinking of it from the economic side of it for people to purchase a node. But from a technical side, give us, educate us about what a node is for people who don't know what a node is.
Well, let's just say that in the earlier stages of the implementations of the node, really what we've done is we're plugging in revenue generated from any and all the apps that are being built and will be built, and plug it into the node. Later, though, there will be a more sophisticated approach towards the node.
Yeah.
So nodes will be a way to validate what's happening in some of these applications. I think it's best to leave it at that because it's a little bit more complex, I think,
Yeah.
in terms of technicalities.
Yeah. basically everything that happens in Miracle, present and future, the node owners benefit from every movement. Now we don't know exactly because one of my guys is here. Is here. He asked me a question earlier. So now we get 14 Finnick per node. What determine the dilution of the number of Finnick that we receive per node? Do we have control over that? Is that something that's gonna happen, or if it happens, do we know if and when that we're going to have less Finnick, and if that stays at 14 Finnick per node? Okay, we can certain say, regardless of current price of Finnick, we're going to get 14 Finnick per per point, or 350 Finnick per node. So now we can compute, we can strategize with our strategy. Okay, I'm going to get X amount of node. Each node gives me 250 Finnick, regardless of what the price is now. The future valuation of Finnick is considered. I think of it as, all right, so in order to make $200 per node, I can know for sure at 57 cents per Finnick based on 350 Finnick per node. I can get excited about that. So, I know this is more of a statement, but are we for sure knowing that if per node we're getting 350 Finnick, it's not going to change?
That's not so relevant for my department. So I'm more of a technical guy.
Okay.
In terms of the output or the inflation or the regulation of the output of the Finnick itself or themselves, I have very little to do with that.
Okay. All right. So now we have a bunch of newbie in our call, and Maurice, do you have any questions? Or Keith, do you have any questions? Let's make it a dynamic call. I'm gonna unmute you. Let me know if you have a question so I can unmute you. All right. So I'm gonna unmute. Unmute yourself if you have any questions. So we talked about Miracle Swap. We talked about the Leverller. What else? Yodi, do you have any questions while I'm thinking of possible questions to ask?
No, actually, Moti answered all the questions you asked him because I had the same questions that you had in your mind.
Okay. Because
in the beginning, questions.
Yeah, in the beginning we didn't have that much information on the node. So I myself didn't purchase any node except for a few because there were not enough information. I think if we have had plenty of information, even a call like this, it would have put us in a position with 20,000 nodes. My team would have been really structured. I think some people in my team have really structured themselves very well. So I'm very glad, and I like to see more of it. And so we talked about Miracle Swap. For people who are coming late, could you give us a quick recap on Miracle Swap again?
Sure. So again, I'll use the analogy that already exists. If you guys ever interacted with DeFi, which is decentralized finance, some tools, such as Uniswap, such as OneEdge, basically what they're very primitive. They have, for example, a pair. What I mean by pair is two different tokens. So USDC and Ethereum, for example, right? And you're coming in and you have USDC, you want to buy Ethereum through DeFi. What you do is you're swapping. Essentially, what it looks like on the other end is someone is actually providing both USDC and Ethereum for the buy and sell side. In case somebody's buying his Ethereum, he's charging a small fee. In case somebody's selling their Ethereum, he's charging a small fee and he's willing to buy. They're all called farmers, and they all facilitate these transactions on DeFi. They get paid, and really what Uniswap is he's connecting the buyer and the seller, and it all happens on chain. It's all verifiable. There is no centralized party because it's a blockchain. And they Uniswap actually takes a cut from all of these transactions. Also, and the farmers get a cut. how much the farmers take a cut is a completely different topic, which is actually kind of complex. And those that's it. The primitive, there's it's called actually CLMM. It's concentrated liquidity market maker.
Okay.
It's math, basically, very complex, but very simple for the user side. And what happens is basically, there's billions in volume monthly gets facilitated and traded on DeFi. And Miracle Swap comes in and wants to do the same, but with huge improvements, two big improvements on the entire math side of the product, which actually doesn't exist right now. One of them is called, and it's again two improvements specifically for the farmers, for the guys who are actually providing liquidity.
Okay.
Those improvements is auto compounding and the dynamic fee rate. Dynamic fee rate basically means if you go on Uniswap, you want to create a pool or even use a pool, there's 4 different pools of the same pair. It's very confusing for new users. They come in and they're like, wait, why is there a 0.01%, 0.05%, then like 0.1, and then like a 1%, and then a 2% pool? And there are reasons. It's to do with impermanent loss. And then and we come in and we are doing just you want to improve it. You want to do one structured pool that dynamically changes its fee rate according to the volatility.
Okay.
It makes sense for people to actually use these tools a lot. And the second thing we're going to come in and improve on is it's called auto compounding. So if you go on Uniswap and you actually provide liquidity, you generate profit. Think to yourself, if you put in a position right now, $100,000, you put in half of it in ETH and half of it in USDC, and you're providing it, and you're generating profits. You went on a boat trip or you went for a hike, and as you're generating these profits, the profits don't automatically get reinvested into your position. They just sit there statically. Which means that you're not compounding your profits, and there's a big difference between compounded profits and non-compounded profits in a position. Very significant. Loads of studies, loads of numbers that you can pull up and see for yourself. What we want to do is want to create a pool where the farmers, their position gets auto compounded. They can leave their position, go for that hike, come back and see that they made $1,000, $2,000, and it automatically got recompounded into their position. Position grows, and therefore the revenue also grows. Those are the two significant changes that we're bringing into our CLM, concentrated liquidity market maker. And then and that's Miracle Swap.
So basically, someone can come in and set that up automatically, and basically go on vacation for a couple of months and not have to monitor this on a daily basis, simply because they have the ability to provide liquidity in Miracle Swap, and then set it up on auto compounding. Basically,
obviously,
a
couple of months sounds a little bit drastic.
I'm being funny.
But it does require some touch-ups, nevertheless. Imagine if we've catapulted to the upside.
Yeah.
You still, as a provider of liquidity, you still need to set what is called a range.
Yeah.
A range, two numbers where you're willing to provide liquidity.
Yeah.
And if prices went, way higher than what you've set as a range, obviously you need to readjust that range,
exactly.
Put it a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it creates a huge amount of automation, which makes you sleep well at night. Not have to wake up and redo everything, or come back earlier and recompound your position, or carry your private keys everywhere.
Yeah. So I'm familiar with multiple node projects out there. So what we're doing is first in the market, never been done before. So I know a lot of people who are involved in so many other things. They want to position themselves in opportunity X, Y, Z, so that way they can have leverage. But we have one ecosystem where someone can position themselves and focus without having to be spread so thin into so many different things, because we have a first to market product with leverage. So just to emphasize, because somebody asked me, I'm repeating the same question, the difference between code node, that Leveller is just a feature that allow people to come in with leveraging their own capital using Miracle Swap, correct?
Yeah, so once Miracle Swap does get built out, yeah, but Leveler is actually a little bit more than that. So we don't have to be married to Miracle Swap. We can provide leverage on Uniswap and 1inch and every other platform out there. Initially, we launched on Avalanche, but it can be migrated to other chains, and it's actually more flexible than just it living on Miracle Swap. It lives in the entire ecosystem of in all the in all the most popular pools.
Oh, okay, okay. So that's what you were talking about, leveraging existing pools. So if you come in and do your own pool and your pool has no liquidity, and of course it's not going to succeed. But if you use existing proven pools, then you can definitely be in a position of leveraging a leveler with existing, profitable pools from existing decks, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's great. I'm not sure how much time you have, and this is absolutely awesome. And but you don't control exactly the economics of the node when it goes up. So
So no, that's nothing to do with my department whatsoever. We're the guys who are actually building the code, managing the product, taking care of of it in its entirety.
yeah. So I mean, what's your position in the company, if you don't mind?
So we're building the product, the smart contract, and we're building the in its entirety from scratch.
Okay.
Um, we're contracted by Miracle to build it out.
And what have you done before in terms of, like, to give people who are hesitant, uh, give me an idea of a successful project that your team has built.
We were so if anyone knows, we worked with Elixir, for example. They, you know what Steam is? Steam
Steam. Oh
Gaming.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I will very well know very well. Yeah.
So Steam, as a marketplace for games and people who might not know, it provides a payments infrastructure, provides a marketplace for companies to sell the games, and the equivalent to that on in crypto is called Elixir. For
Mhm.
example, we built the entire overlay for Elixir in good terms with them. We built. We're the first ones to use the candy machine on Solana
Okay.
to mint NFTs. We actually developed quite a large chunk of code on that. Clayzaros, some of the NFT projects there, the first ones to release anything, we helped them there. We built a bunch of tooling for SDKs for Saga. It's the mobile phone,
Mhm.
crypto mobile phone. Even before that, I mean, you know, some of my team members within the company, I mean, they've been part of developing for 20 years. Like our one of our seniors, he built the first matchmaking system for Doom, the game.
Okay.
It's like we're talking about 2004,
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So like, uh, I mean, we've been building for over 20 years. In terms of like some of the members in our team, that they're like, in terms of crypto, we're in the forefront of a lot of developments that happened in the past three years.
Okay. Oh, very, very good question that I'm about to ask you. Now, for many of us with nodes, we understand that the Finite that we purchase prior, where is that going to be hosted on Miracle Cash exchange? Because we cannot liquidate all of our tokens. We can only liquidate 6.25% of it monthly. So, in order for that to happen, how Finnic is going to be hosted where, on Miracle Exchange, or will it be available to migrate to our own exchange, to our own wallet? I mean,
So again, this is like a nuance that is less to do with us, because when it comes to inflation or deflation
yeah,
or token releases, or even facilitating it or how it work, it's less to do with the tech, with the actual with our department that actually builds it with our own hands.
I
It's
see.
more to do with these kind of adjustments. They're very trivial and it's less to do with us.
Okay, got it. So I don't want to waste your time with trivial questions. Any, I mean, for people who are newbie, any important things that for us to know as a community or promoting projects that are important to you guys that you want us to know?
I would 100% recommend for anyone who's in the crypto space to just get their hands dirty with liquidity provision on DeFi. It's very exciting scene, very exciting for the reason that the volumes are insane. There's so much money in that, and uh, there's so much innovation in that area. And if anything, I would uh, really promote, or get people to move forward and just explore that world because it's a really fascinating world.
Being a liquidity farmer, you call it, or liquidity provider. All right, Kit has a question, so I'm going to unmute him. You can unmute yourself, Kit.
Hey, how are you guys doing? Thanks for taking my question. Just in reference to what you're talking about, and forgive me if you already answered this question because I've been coming in and out. Unfortunately, I've had other meetings. But just in relatively to the lever and with what you're talking about with the swap, I know that people are going to be wanting to use this. As far as the usability, how easy will it be for somebody to say do the swap and want to invest into that? I know that you guys were talking about that there would be things that you'd have to adjust. It's not as easy as just being able to walk away, forget about it, and lo and behold, there's an obscene amount of volume there. But the usability for somebody who may not have any knowledge in this space whatsoever, how will they be able to be migrated into a system like that and attain knowledge to be able to use that? What would that be like? And the same goes for the lever as well.
So liquidity provision is kind of a very it's not a very complex concept. It's the same as what happens in any exchange in the real world, right? Like you go in and you want to swap your dollars, and for example in Turkey you come in and you see Turkish lira at dollar exchange, and they show what they want to buy dollar for, what they sell it for, and you see the rates, and that's kind of like the range that they set. If you can think with me for a second, that's the range that they set, and it's the same with liquidity provision, one to one, right? Where imagine like the exchange on the back end, if someone just took a pile of Turkish lira and a pile of dollars and told uh, the person working at the desk, you're selling and buying at these ranges, at these prices, and you as someone who wants to use the service, you see the range and you're like, oh, okay, well, I want to I want to buy dollar because with my Turkish lira I can do that, or I want to sell my dollar for Turkish lira. And the same thing with crypto. It's not a very complex thing because we are already familiar with all of these things that exist in our world. It's just they're renamed. Maybe the entry level is slightly higher because it's online and people are not familiar with it. But it's the same thing. You're providing, for example, you have USDC and you have Ethereum. You don't want it to just lay there for no reason. If the market is going sideways, you want to be providing liquidity and getting commission. So you just same as you would do offline, you do it online. You set the range where you're willing to provide your USDC and Ethereum between what prices. You've put it there, and when the price moves within that range, you're getting paid. Because essentially, if you've given equal amount of Ethereum to USDC, the ratio, some people are buying your Ethereum, so then your dollar go up, and then some people are selling their Ethereum, your dollar goes down, and you're just generating within that range fees, right? Uh, and readjusting it is also kind of easy. Those concepts we all understand. We've all seen them. It's just presented differently, and there's just no centralized party. The centralized party is really the blockchain, which is decentralized. So let's just say the party that takes care of the transactions really is pure math and the blockchain.
Yeah. So the blockchain give us the decentralized ecosystem for us to leverage capital, and we get to set the parameters with a very easy user interface.
I do have to point out, though, Keith, that the other tool which we're building, Leverller, which provides leverage for the people who are farming liquidity, who are setting these ranges, that's a more complex entry point. There is really nothing like it, and it's such a sought after product. For example, speaking with our own market makers, and they're always looking for something like that to leverage. You want to be providing within a range, but you only have $1,000, and suddenly somebody lends out to you, 10 times leverage, and suddenly one instead of providing 1,000, you're providing 10,000 with that range, and you're getting commission. But then there's risk. Where there's leverage, specifically under collateralized leverage, there is risk. So there's risk of liquidation. So then the complexity here becomes much higher for entry level. You need to understand a couple more concepts. You need to understand what is notional value, how it's calculated. You understand the liquidation. You need to understand what's the difference between shorting or longing. The entry level is higher, but also the profits are higher. So Leveller is a much higher complexity level for users. Miracle Swap is kind of like your bread and butter, but Leveller will be built on top of Miracle Swap, just like Leveller will work on top of any other pool that is, we're going to plug it into. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. I appreciate that. So when we talk about the nodes themselves, I know Micah has referred to that, and everything runs through the nodes. How exactly does that work in very limited terms, and how everything runs through the nodes?
So in its inception, really what we're doing is we're plugging in so that the rewards, the fees occurred through Leveller and through Miracle Swap. From the more volume, the more fees will happen. They will be generated. We're plugging it in and through the nodes, so the node owners receive revenue generated from these products. But in later stages, because coding is a boring and very long, tedious process, especially on chain. Later stages, what the nodes will do is that they will be participating in some kind of activities, that supports our programs that we're building. Because the Miracle Swap and Leveller aren't the only two applications that will be built on top. There'll be others, and where there'll be direct need for those node owners to participate and give either computational power or solve or just staking for whatever reason. It's just not. I can't say with certainty 100%. So other than the revenue generation at its inception, it won't do much. Okay. Let's just put it this way.
All right. So here's a question that come to mind: is there a minimum liquidity that someone would have to come up with? Because we cannot start with $100 or $10,000.
They can put in $1.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So anybody can participate then.
Yeah, anyone can participate. They can practice. They can feel it for themselves. How much point is there providing liquidity $1 worth? How much can you generate? Is you're probably gonna in Ethereum network. You're probably gonna spend more on fees creating the position than providing than generating revenue. But sure, you could do it.
No, I just want to make sure if there's like a minimum, because people come up with this kind of questions, because when you're talking about being a liquidity provider or farmer, you're talking that someone who's like an accredited investor who can come up with 100,000. But if someone only has 1,000, like, can I participate? These things are good to know, because it allows someone with as little as $1,000 to come in and leverage Miracle Swap and provide liquidity and then set the parameters and then make passive earning for their participation.
Let's just put it this way. What it is on the back end is just a very complex math. It's called the constant product. It's basically where x multiplied by y equal k. So x is token A, y is token B, equal the price, which is k. And really, it doesn't. There's no prejudice towards people who are putting small amounts or large amounts. It's just math. People just pull in, and revenue or fees are generated by swaps that happen between users, and that's it. That's the beauty of DeFi. That literally, it's just pure math, and it's on chain.
Wow, this is amazing.
Verifiable.
That's amazing. Wow. Okay, that's great. So in addition to owning a node, you can also provide liquidity, which is which is different than I purchased myself a node today or times X. And in addition to that, I can leverage my daily reward earning and provide liquidity on top of the having and operating a node.
Yeah, and you don't even have to use if you don't understand leverage, you don't even have to use leverage. You could just provide liquidity, and you're using the money that you have, and you're generating fees on money that you have. Now, whether you understand the product, whether you go and do your due diligence, understand what leverage is, what are the risks, how to use it, and you want to do it, sure. Like it's even more profitable if you're right.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, because it's a financial product that's kind of again, Leverller is not the entry level for Leverller is higher than just providing liquidity without leverage.
I see. Now, in most trading platforms, they give you, say, for instance, monopoly money, like funds, like to play with. I'm assuming that we won't have that because it's a decentralized system, right?
No, but you could always enter with like $1 or like $2 position. I mean, it's a small sacrifice for education, for educational purposes. Let's put it this way.
No, I'm trying to remove excuses from the poverty-minded person who think like they have to have money. And
I mean, most people buy burgers at least once a month. How much is a burger?
Yeah.
Depending on the country. I mean, here in Turkey, you could pay like $10 for a burger. Mm-hmm. Instead of buying a burger, go treat yourself for a fun experience on chain. Provide some liquidity, feel it out, see how it works. Why not? It's healthier this way. I mean, you miss out on the burger, and you'll learn something new.
You can buy many burgers later if you're willing to delay gratification, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. My friend, I don't know how much time you have. I would like to take on an additional hour of your time, but
let me see. Because the funny thing is, I didn't even know it was going to be an interview or so many people are going to be on the call. I was just casually, because I happen to have a couple. I thought it was a couple of minutes, and I joined the call, and now I look and already 45 minutes. I think 45 minutes are past, and I probably have like another 5 to 7 minutes.
All right, let's put it this way. If for any reason that you need to clear your head, there's a concept called talk therapy. I can provide you with the experience so we can pick your brain a little bit. And that way my team gets educated and you get out of your own head. I'm always available to provide that. And your team. Let us be a way for you to vent a little bit, blow some steam, and at the same time educate the community at the same time. You can count on me.
By the way, how big is the community? Because I've never interacted with the community at all. I think it's the first time I'm ever on a call like this.
Oh, great. So consider this the first of many then. My team is, what are we, Yodi? 60 or something? Yodi, are you there? Okay.
I think you guys are more than that. Yeah, I think you guys are more than that. More than 60.
Well, 60, I mean, from what I count, what I can count, it might go about 60 plus or something. There's probably people who I don't know. All right, my friend.
Oh.
I appreciate your time. I really, really, really value your time, your expertise. Again, if you ever want to get out of your own head, you want to exercise a little bit of talk therapy, blow some steam, we are your guinea pig for us to be educated, and you get some you get talk therapy in the process. So, anyone wants to say goodbye, hello, thank you.
By the way,
Marty.
you're welcome. Last question:
Thank
Where
you.
are you guys from?
I'm in Massachusetts, U.S. Most of my team
Houston. Houston. Yeah, Canada
Ah,
for me.
so,
Canada.
Yeah.
so Canada, the
Carolina.
U.S., and of course, yeah.
All right.
So
Well, nice to meet you guys.
nice.
Nice chatting with you, French,
All right,
and
thank you.
Keith.
Thank you very much.
So you let your D know, hey, we have some time to blow some steam, and we get the education, and you get the therapy, so it's a win-win.
Sure, yeah. And if Yordi annoys me enough and keeps asking me, "Can you come? Can you come?" then I might come for a second round.
All right, let's
She-
make,
she-
let's make it
yeah.
happen. Thank you, Monty. Thank you, Yordi.
Okay. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Okay,
care.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Bye.
much.
Thank you, team,
Bye-bye.
for participating.